So, thank you so much for tuning in to the Mental Fabric podcast show. I have a very special guest, Nida Syed. What can I say about this amazing professional? She's been in magazines. She has an awesome YouTube channel, awesome social media following, and I think she's going to teach us a little bit more about ourselves and also probably about relationships. So, thank you so much for joining me today. So, how are you doing? How is your Thursday going so far?
Good. It has been a busy Thursday. It kind of felt like a Monday, to be honest. So it was very busy, but good. Yeah.
That's the thing, like I swear for me, it's very I work day and night and I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. And there's days when I wake up, I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to watch Netflix
Yeah.
all day. Um, and every time I look up, you're as busy, if not more busier than I am. And I'm like, how does she have the energy for all this? Uh,
Yeah.
So, like, when I think of someone that's like yourself, that's a very passionate about their profession, I always think of someone that's obsessive. Now, not in a bad way, but we both know if it was just for the money, we will not be doing this because there's a million ways to make money. So there has to be something more than that. So tell me, why did you decide to start your own therapy practice?
So honestly, nothing makes me more happier than helping people finding their smile, their confidence back. It just makes me feel as if I've accomplished something huge. And while I was deciding what career path I wanted to follow, what I wanted to do, I do not want it to be really thinking all about myself, all about me, but more what can I bring to the table? What can I do for this world? What can I bring to this universe? See, everybody is born with a reason. There is a purpose. So I believe my purpose is helping people finding the light within themselves and being able to be happy and celebrate life. Yeah.
I love that so much. And again, that comes back to who you are as a core, right? Now, a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know this, but we live in two different places around the world. Um,
Yeah.
you are in Manchester and I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Have you ever heard of Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Ha-
No.
It's
No.
okay. A lot of people don't know who we are. Do you follow basketball? Like, do you follow like United States basketball?
I used to love basketball, but that's way back, to be honest.
You know what? It's perfectly fine because, a lot of people think of Milwaukee as the place where Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is the Greek freak, he's a famous basketball player. But besides that, it's either him or we drink a lot of beer. Like
Okay.
those are like the only two things, and I'm just like, let's start changing the narrative about Milwaukee a little bit here. So,
Yeah.
have you ever been to the United States before?
No,
Wow.
no. I
When
have been to Canada, but not to the United States, no.
when you think of United States, like, and again, there's some
Yeah.
no backlash. What do you think of United States? Like, what comes to mind?
First thing that comes to my mind is rat race,
Rat race.
struggle, but at the same time, a huge difference between the poor and the rich. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, that's a very interesting perspective. So, when you say rat race, is because we're always known to be working all the time? Is that what it is?
It feels like in the US, they are more programmed about work, 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 work. It's just you have to work your ass off to be someone. You have to do this, you
Mhm.
have to do that. And it's they have imprinted it so strongly that you have to work and that there are no shortcuts and that you're not allowed to rest, that you're not allowed to enjoy. So that's a bit missing, to be honest. That's what I feel.
So
Yeah.
and so in Manchester, how do you guys work? Do you work a 5 day week, 5 day work week, 40 hours a
Yeah.
week, like, or is it just when you say program, is it, because again, I'm gonna speak for myself and every single
Yeah.
person I know, I don't know a single person that works less than 40 hours a week.
Yeah. And the thing is, this has been imprinted globally that it's normal, but it isn't.
Mm,
When I started my practice, I was working much, much, much more because, as you know, running your own business that comes up with lots of responsibility. It's an
Mhm.
amazing idea, but you have to do a lot to get to a point that you start getting clients, you start, that the business starts running. Now, 40 hours a week, even in the weekend, there will be moments that you will be thinking about work because it gets imprinted. It has become a habit. So you slowly start forgetting about who you actually are and what you actually want and why you're working 40 hours a week. There's nothing wrong with that if you're still able to focus on what you want in your life. But the problem is, majority forgets about their own dreams and desires and just fade away.
Wow. Wow. I mean, you are very spot on. And this comes to my next question, right?
Yeah.
Because work is so, like you said, programmed in us, we start losing our self-identity. We start
Yeah.
losing who we are. We become this person that we look up to, or whatever our goal is at work, we become that person. How do you, or how should a person disconnect from Pedro, the working professional, to Pedro, the person who loves fishing? How do I
Yeah.
how do I eat, because I spend so much time at work, how do I make sure I don't lose who I am?
Balance. First of all, what I always say and what I personally do is I start my morning with yoga. You have to find out what you like to do. 10 minutes meditation, mindfulness techniques. There are so many tools out there that can help you with connecting with yourself and remaining yourself, grounding yourself. It's okay to work. It's absolutely fine. But what's
Mhm.
important is that you do tap into who you actually are, what your soul wants, what's your true essence, what are you doing here on this planet? And that to remain in touch with that, meditation is very powerful. People do struggle with meditation. Some of them would say, I get bored, I don't really like this. Put on any song, any positive
Mhm.
song that you can connect with and just enjoy the flow. And all of a sudden, you will feel so much better. That is meditation, and just
Wow.
let all the thoughts flow. Let them flow, just like clouds. Let them come and go. Don't stick to a thought, but just enjoy the music, just enjoy the song.
Wow. I never heard meditation described that way, because even myself, I struggle with meditation
Yeah,
because once about like a minute in, I'm like, okay, I start thinking about what I have to do next.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I I know for me personally, my daily routine is I wake up, I pray, make my bed, and I do 100 push-ups. Even if I'm
Hmm.
going to the gym, whatever's going on in my life, those three things, like, I always focus on me first, and those three things make me me.
Yeah,
But I always wanted to do meditation just to clear my mind, just because there's so much going on,
yeah,
but I never heard it described in that way.
yeah. Y- Yeah, and you can also, and next to that, find if you really want to try the meditation that everybody talks about, try guided meditation, but find someone that you like the voice of. So it should be a man, a woman that you like the voice that you can connect with. That's important. But in the beginning, just start with any song. Just enjoy it. Just, let you just be in that present moment. That's what's important.
Be in that present moment.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of our taglines on social media. Be in the I love that. So, what do you think are the pros and cons to therapy? Now, for me, again, I'll be honest, before, me and, my past relationships, I didn't think therapy, I thought therapy was like a girl thing. Not gonna lie. A lot of
Yeah.
men think that they think of therapy the same way. Then
Yeah.
I started going through it, and the hardest part was the first session, to say, okay, tell me what's going on. Because when we say what's going on, we always talk about the immediate, what just happened. We don't talk about everything leading to what happened. And
Yeah.
that's such a hard pill to swallow, because a lot of times it's our own actions which cause that end result.
Yeah.
So, what do you think are the pros and cons for anyone when it comes to therapy?
There are lots of them because the more we are marketing therapy, the more it's becoming commercial and the more it's becoming complicated. So
Mhm.
that's a fact. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, the best thing about therapy is you're in a safe space, safe environment. You know that you can talk to a person that you can trust. will feel connected, you will feel listened. And that's what we are missing. These days, everybody is just listening for the sake of listening, but they're not actively listening and understanding where you're coming from. So, therapy can afford you that. Also, with therapy, you will be able to understand where some behaviors are actually coming from. See, people are not aware of the fact that 90% of what we do is actually our subconscious mind
Mm.
redirecting us to make specific decisions. So we might be consciously thinking we will be the next millionaire, but in our subconscious mind, we still hear our parents say, we don't have enough money, or we are still struggling. Oh, I can't give you pocket money this week, or earning money is hard. If that's still in your subconscious mind, no matter how hard you try to become the person you want to become, you won't, because your subconscious mind is always going to find reasons to stop you from where you want to get.
Mm.
And with therapy, there's so many, the best part is there's so many different techniques, there's so many different methods. So everybody is unique. One specific therapy is not going to suit for everybody. Everybody is unique, everybody needs different approach. So now, especially with having different types of therapies, that's making it easier for people to heal. Now, on the other hand, therapy, you have to pay for it and it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you want to give it a try through the government, there is a waiting list for longer than 3 months, which will make the situation actually worse. They always give antidepressant to be able to cope with the situation in the current situation that you're in. But the problem with that is you're just suppressing. And the more you suppress, the overwhelming it will get. And on a long term, the more sessions you will need.
Mm.
Yeah. And also, what I personally believe is lacking is that people are very impatient, so they do not understand or do a research about different therapies, and they just choose one specific person that they just want to go just to try out. They go for a session, it doesn't work, and then they believe therapy doesn't work.
That is so powerful because I don't know if you noticed this, but for me, so my therapist, I loved him so much and I continue to love him so much, but I still now use a different therapist. And I did that because I had to get a different perspective because everywhere I look now, as I don't know if you noticed this or not in Manchester, but United
Yeah.
States, divorce is on the rise. A lot of people, especially younger couples, are divorcing. And a lot of that is because, quote unquote, the therapist said, just give up. Or
Yeah.
the therapist just blames on the other person, deflecting from the person that's paying for the therapy.
Yeah.
So now that self-interest is giving bad advice. And it's crazy to see how many men and women online say, I regret my divorce, or I regret living, not even divorce, let's say just a separation or breakup or a hard breakup, right?
Yeah.
I regret that because what I was told in therapy when it's more about the other person more than the stuff that I needed to fix. But because I'm paying for my therapist.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Like what does that,
Okay.
that
Couple of things. First of all, being wounded and entering a relationship is a big mistake. And I always say this. Why? Because you are carrying pain within yourself. Now you will attract someone who is carrying pain as well.
mm,
So now two people will be coming together who are carrying baggages from everything that happened in the past. And they're hoping to have a happy life without working on the wounds, without working on the triggers, the pain. See, everything is imprinted in your subconscious mind. And no matter how hard you try consciously to be gentle, nice, kind, loving, humble in a relationship, it's not going to work. There will be backlash. Why? Because in your subconscious mind, it might be programmed that relationships don't work, partners hurt. especially if you come from a dysfunctional family. There will be that fear all the time. What if this relationship goes wrong? So now you will start looking for someone that you think you might be able to control, or you think is going to give you his or her 100%. So you make
Mhm.
decisions based upon fear, based upon guilt, based upon pain. It's okay to fall in love. It's okay to feel specific feelings towards someone. That's absolutely fine. The problem is when we enter a commitment, we forget that there is a lot of pain that we are carrying within us, and it's going to be an issue in this commitment as well because you're carrying it within you.
I love.
And another thing, um, in a therapy, it's important to understand that a therapist cannot change your partner, your lover, but a therapist can only help you with understanding you why you have specific behaviors. For example, I have a very good friend of mine who came for therapy, and he's in a relationship, and the main issue there was his short temper. But he never knew he had a short temper, and nobody really told him that he was the one who just went from 0 to 100. And because he was never told that, and people used to just adapt to what he was doing and to what he was saying, he never knew, never understood what his mistake was. And now at the age of 35, he realized when I was guiding him and doing a session with him and I pinpointed out for him, he realized that nobody has really told him that. And that's again something that you see in your environment, in your upbringing. It becomes your normal. So you start behaving in a specific way and you won't see what you're doing wrong. And then it's very important to understand entering a therapy is for yourself, not for your partner. And it might be that your partner needs therapy as well, especially if you have entered that relationship when you were wounded.
Wow. I think everyone now is a believer in you and your practice because that
Thank
is
you.
some deep stuff right there. And I think that I mean again everything that you're saying I can relate to because again I've been through the hard breakup, downward spiral, started drinking, did all that. The therapist helped me be reminded me who I was, and obviously close friends and I support group. Not let me take it not take away from my family and friends. You know, everybody
Yeah,
watching right now, but the therapist really showed me okay who I am and how to get back on my ass and say, hey, Pedro's an amazing person. Don't forget that this is stuff we have to work on. And I got to say, the first like 4 sessions, there was a lot of tears. And as a
yeah,
man, you do not want to cry. Anyone that knows me, I only cry during funerals. So it was tough to going through that childhood trauma. But then when I did get out of that childhood trauma and then started really focusing on my future, it was just like, wow, I had so much anxiety in the past because of my childhood. Like you said, I came from a dysfunctional family,
yeah,
and my biggest fear was the future. Like
yeah,
you described it perfect. You said I cling on, and then it's like I'm so worried about what I don't want to break this up. I don't want to break this up because I've been in the broken home. And then
yeah,
when you finally get past that, I think of the future differently now.
yeah,
But I would never have done that if it wasn't for therapy. So let me ask you this, because you said it too, right?
yeah,
Each therapist is not perfect for each client.
yeah,
Sometimes you should shop around, right? Especially with a program like BetterHelp, which
yeah,
they just you pay $300 a month. They give you somebody right away. I used to think $300 a month was cheap, so that's why I did it. And shout out to Dr. Goodman. He helped me realize this, even though he was a therapist on that platform.
yeah,
Um, he was like, dude, like you don't need every week therapy. Some people need it
yeah,
once a month or twice a week, right? But you're paying a subscription, which is monthly, and it's a big cost.
yeah,
But that doesn't mean you have the right therapist either because it's easy and it's accessible. Like you said, that waiting
exactly.
period, that makes a lot of people think like, you know what? I don't need therapy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna figure this out. So
yeah,
like, what is your personal opinion on okay, again, we're all human.
yeah,
Therapists are human.
yeah,
Therapists go through breakups. They go through
Yeah.
their shit too, right? And sometimes
Yeah.
that could be portrayed on the client, right?
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing my therapist said. Hey, if your therapist is going through something, you may not know it, but eventually that's going to go into your whatever you're going through, and that
Yeah.
might cloud your little atmosphere here. So, how do you go through? How do you interview therapists, and how do you know when you should say, you know what, let me try a second opinion before I act
Yeah.
upon what this person is telling me?
Okay, so first of all, what I would like to say, especially for the listeners,
Mhm.
try to choose for a therapy method that's not only based upon the conscious mind and the present, but will help you to focus on the past to build a better future. So there, for example, cognitive behavioral therapy, it's the number one. Everybody, every professional would just, every GP, every doctor, every person would talk about it, and everybody would tell you to go for it. Now, to be very honest about it, as a professional myself, I would say it's good if you just want to work on the present. If there is just one situation that you want to deal with in the present, then okay, just go for it. But if you really want to work on root causes and really want to work on the baggage that you're carrying for years, you have to choose for a therapy method or a therapist that will work with you on past, present, future.
Mm.
So that's the very first thing. The second thing is book the free consultation. Don't just look at the website. Don't just see the name and read about the information. No, book the 30-minute, 60-minute free consultation that they offer. Go for it. Have a good chat. And then the last but most important thing is, do you feel confident? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel safe talking about everything with this specific person? Or is there a hesitation? The moment you feel there is a hesitation and something in you tells you, no, this is not the person, you don't have to book another session. It's a clear sign. Your instincts will tell you who that person is that can help you. But you have to go for the free consultation. It's there for a reason. And then use your instincts. And it's very important that you do feel safe and you feel comfortable talking about everything. Keep that in mind. It's very important to feel safe.
Feeling safe or scared, right? It's so funny because therapy, you're talking to someone like you said, right? We're having a conversation right now.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous. I don't know if you're feeling nervous or not, right? I
No.
feel very comfortable with talking to you.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a fear out there that we don't talk enough about is, damn, I have to open up to this person.
Yeah.
And if we were dating, if I don't feel that comfort level, then I back
Yeah.
away. But
Hmm.
when it comes to
Yeah.
therapists, and again, I'm saying this because I know multiple people that said they wish they would have shopped around. This is
Yeah.
not just my opinion. This is people that I've talked to in the industry, and they just jump to the first person and they're like, "Well, this is my therapist, or this is my psychiatrist." Right?
Yeah.
Psychiatrists play a factor in this too, and it's just like, why do we get so scared to say, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna break things off." A lot of times you don't even have to do that. You can just write an email and go to the
Yeah.
next one, right? You don't even have to give an explanation on why you're switching. Um, so I love that you cleared that up because that was one of the things that even for myself, I'm like, without better help, where do I go? And
Yeah.
I had to wait 2 weeks. And it's funny, my employer helped me find my therapist, and I had 6 sessions free. And I
Yeah.
was just like, and I started looking into that, and I'm like, more employers around the world are focusing on mental health, and they have these programs. People just don't use it.
Yeah.
So, have you heard about like employers now really diving into mental health and find the resources to help their employees?
Yes, they are doing that, but again, it's very, very basic.
Mm,
So, they might offer you anxiety help or help with, stress or time management and stuff like that, but it's very basic. So, it's good though to start with and then see what. the therapist notices and discuss what you're feeling, it's good. But you have to keep in mind there is always a root cause to what you're feeling, and if it's just, stress, anxiety, especially anxiety, chronic anxiety, it's coming from somewhere. And sometimes it's from something that we have been carrying for years within ourselves. And therefore, it's important to see and then observe if that therapist is going to help you with the root cause as well. Because there are lots of therapists out there, and I have to say this, they do help you on a basic level. They do not touch the root cause. Now, for if you just go for a therapy to cope with the basic level, what will happen? So, a couple of months you will feel okay, and then you will fall back.
Mm,
And now you will think therapy doesn't work.
hmm.
But the therapist never touched the root cause. So, root cause is very, very important as well. Root cause therapy. Yeah.
So why, how as the client do I
Yeah.
know that I need a deeper understanding than the basic? Like
Yeah.
how as a client do I distinguish that?
So, if the therapist is only offering you, you have had 3 sessions and the therapist is only talking about coping and coping and coping, about coping with anxiety, coping with stress, coping with depression, there's only coping. The word coping is only there, and the therapist is not really paying attention what's happening or where it did start. What was the starting point of the anxiety? It might be years ago. If the therapist is not being interested in that part at all, then this therapist is just only providing you with basic tools, basic techniques to cope with trauma, maybe in specific situations. But that's not going to be helpful because the trauma is still there, or the stress, anxiety, it's still there. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. That I mean, and that's as the client, you have to be mindful of that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
okay, what is every session looking like? Take a
Yeah.
step back and say, okay, what if, what do I need to do, and why do I keep feeling like this even though I'm going to therapy? Like you said, I got to say this, Cynthia, my therapist, um, she was very blunt, but I needed that bluntness because she
Yeah.
said, I remember her exact words were, let's stop fucking playing games and let's get to it.
Yeah.
And she said, you're just here telling me about your day-to-day stuff. You're not telling me what happened, whatever in the past that makes you feel this way every single day. She was like,
Yeah.
you seem very motivated person, you're very entrepreneurial, but you also have a dark past and you always avoided it. You always tell me
Yeah.
one story, then you go away. And so she really said, okay, whether you like it or not today, this is what we're
Yeah.
talking about. And
Exactly. Yeah.
and that changed my life because then I'm like, my first episode of this podcast was about buckets. Is
Yeah.
about putting a person in the right bucket, and that one bucket doesn't affect the other buckets. So I never
Yeah.
fall off balance. So here's a hot question for you. If you
Okay.
were a patient, who would you decide to use?
Ooh, I love that question.
Ooh.
Okay, as I said, I would definitely, definitely use the free consultation method.
Okay.
That for sure. And then go where I felt this is the right place. This is the right person. I would definitely listen to my intuition. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. See, it comes back to your gut. What's your gut
Yeah.
feeling and how do you feel? So again, thank you so much. This was an amazing interview. I know I got a lot of stuff from it. I mean, I'm gonna rewatch this. I'm gonna take so many notes. But how do people contact you? What do you have going on in your life? This last 5 minutes is all yours. You tell it's all yours right now. The floor is yours. Pedro's gonna shut up.
Thank you. Well, first of all, people can contact me through my website, which is www.luminostransformationalcoaching.com. That's a way. Another way they can contact me is through my Instagram handle, which is Nida Sayed Coaching. And then if you want to just chat about something, or if you want to, see if I could be the right therapist for you, all you need to do is send a DM and we can book a call, and then just let's have a chat.
Love it. I love it. I have two people for you because these two people in my mind, I think that you said it right. You know, it needs to be deeper. And I think these are amazing people that could use your help right away. So I'm gonna send you two people for sure. And anyone watching this, I'm gonna have all the links to her website, social media. You know, if you want to reach her, if you want to become potentially a client, I'm gonna have all the resources for you guys. So again, thank you so much. This was definitely one of the best interviews, fun interviews. You're the first interview of 2023. So I can't wait to share this with you and your network and the Mental
Yes.
Fabric podcast.
Thank
So
you. Thank you
uh,
very much for having me.
you're welcome. So I will talk to you very soon. And everybody
Yes.
listening out there, this is going to be a good one.